Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to Drew Dober in action this weekend against Rafael Alves. Drew, very good to see you. You're coming off a beautiful finish. How good does that feel? And how important is it to swing momentum back your way after a couple of losses, now riding high again?
I don't think it was a beautiful finish. I mean, I think I ran into some problems in that first round, but I'm glad I got it done. And man, it was much needed after my 2021. I try to fight the best in the world. And when you go out there, you compete against the best. Not every time you're going to be on top. So getting a win in the win column against a very tough Terrance McKinney, very motivating. But man, we got a tough one on Saturday as well.
Yeah, Terrance McKinney, he was just winning, and then he met you. Does that feel good to know that, you were that level up, you were able to stop him like that?
I think I always knew, in my heart. Now it's just being able to do it against the best in the world. So props to Terrance. He really put it out there, but I just showcased what I knew, what I had, and that is I got a chin, I got a heart, and a left hand, and I bring it into every single fight. And I feel like you really need to learn how to grapple if you want to beat me.
What is it like for you? This is not your first rodeo. You know this sport inside out. You got so much experience. You fought the best. You've got a rich amateur career as well. How do you remind yourself how good you are going into a fight like that?
I don't. I'm out here trying to prove to myself how good I am. And so I'm in the gym every single day working hard at trying to perfect my craft. And that 15 minutes that I'm in that cage, I'm proving myself what I'm capable of. And that's why I'm fighting the best in the world. That's why I'm going out there and taking risks and trying to be in the cage as much as possible. Because I'm not out here trying to showcase to everyone else how awesome I am. I'm trying to prove to myself that I'm capable of great things. And you can only do that against the best in the world.
How great are we talking here? What is your ultimate goal in this sport?
Just more of, right? Obviously we all want that world title. But I think it's not the end all be all. I think guys like Donald Cerrone, Kenny Florian, Clay Guida, guys that have never held the title, but we know their names. We're excited every time they step in the cage. And man, this career is short-lived. And so I'm trying to get as many fantastic fights as I possibly can until I'm too old to do this anymore. And man, that's my dream. At the end of the day, when I'm talking to my grandkids and I'm telling stories, or when you're talking to your grandkids and you're telling stories, the Drew Dober name is something very significant.
That's awesome. Well, you already kind of achieved that, which is something that 99.9% of people will never get close to. So it's amazing. In terms of people who are on that level, we've seen, Donald retire. Is there anybody who you're like, I want to fight that guy before he retires just because I respect his name so much? Is there anyone on your kind of mental list there?
Dustin Poirier. Man, that guy's incredible. Such a great boxer. I've been such a fan of his. And anytime we're in the same room together, he reminds me that we were scheduled to fight as an amateur. And it bypassed us. We didn't do it. So I won it back. And man, with all due respect, because I think the guy is tremendous and much respect to him. And I only want to fight the guys I respect.
Awesome. Yeah, I think the fans would love that one. How do you feel about the rankings right now? We've got guys in there who, McGregor, Ferguson, Hooker, with all respect to those guys who haven't won in a good while. Do you think you should be knocking on the door for the top 15 right now with a win here?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think about it that much. I think of names, not numbers. And I would love to fight Conor McGregor, and I'd want to do it because of who he is and not because he has a number in front of his name. And there's guys like Bobby Green or Jim Miller who don't have a number in front of their name, and that'd be such fantastic fights. And man, I think at one time I was worried about getting into those rankings, but it doesn't matter who you fight, it's how you fight. And you just put a person in front of me, and I'm going to showcase my abilities. And yeah, you can put a number in front of my name, whatever.
What about Thiago then? He loves a guillotine. How are you preparing for him? Have you been doing some neck strengthening there? How do you see him as a threat to you?
I mean, how chaotic he is. Man, he's just outrageous, and you never know what you're like. You don't know what to expect, from his past. I mean, he's obviously has that good guillotine, so we're being mindful of not putting my head in horrible positions. But outside of that, man, it's like I got to figure out, once we're in there, he might come out hard and try to grab my neck. He might stand back a little bit and try to figure out what I'm doing. It's with a fighter like him, he's very athletic. He has ways of winning. And so now it's just who is in better understanding of the fight in that moment.
Nice. And how do you see yourself beating him without giving too much away?
I mean, I like slinging hands. I like finding his chin. Ideally, if I have to fight the way I want it, I mean, he might take a nap. Yeah. So I'm out there to find that chin, make him uncomfortable, and possibly put him to sleep.
We talked about the fact that you know this sport better than most, all the different elements to it, helping promote fights, media, MMA Twitter. MMA Twitter's funny. They're always talking about how handsome you are, which is hilarious. How do you deal with that? Is that funny to you?
Well, it's hilarious. Well, I mean, it's also kind of frustrating because like I'm trying to be taken seriously as a fighter, and everyone just comments about like my jawline and my hair and this and that. So, man, it is quite funny, and like I love it. I mean, whether it's negative or positive or somewhere in between, the internet wins every time, and it's just so much fun and it's hilarious. And whether you like me or don't like me, keep commenting because I read it and it's amazing.
That's a very good attitude. So, can I ask you about Islam Makhachev? Having fought him, he's a very talked about guy right now. Is he going to be the next champion? How does it go down with Charles?
I can see him taking that title. I can see him out wrestling and controlling. It may not be the most exciting fight because it's all about Charles Oliveira to make it exciting, but I think Islam has the skills to shut Charles out and take that title.
And what about Beneil Dariush? Were you intrigued by the Gamrot fight for him?
Yeah, very interested. I mean, I'm the first person going to watch that fight. That jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu game, grappling game is going to be incredible. But it's just going to be the talent of Gamrot versus the experience of Beneil. It's as of right now, it's kind of hard to see Gamrot losing, but man, Beneil is so talented, so intelligent, and so experienced. I could see him getting a W on that one.
Have you been impressed by Rafael Fiziev? He's right up there in number 7 now, and he's maybe the guy who's in there to shake things up a bit.
Yeah. I'd be curious on who they're going to hand him next. Man, I've been interested in that guy since he got in the UFC. Was it American or the Thailand top team like coach,
Tiger.
Thai striker? Yeah, Tiger. Yeah. Man, that would be such a fun fight. So I've had my eyes on him. We kind of passed each other in the rankings, unfortunately. But man, I think he's incredible. But we got to see how he handles with the ground game fighters. He's going to get to a point where he's got to compete against the Armand, the Gamrots, the Charles Oliveras, and striking isn't the only thing that wins fights.
How do you keep it fresh and how do you keep motivated? You're obviously in tremendous shape, but you must have those days where you don't feel like it. Have you thought about going to Thailand or anywhere like that just to get a fresh perspective for a camp?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have such a wonderful team at Denver, Colorado with Team Elevation that like those are my core group of guys to make me better. But cross training is always a highlight of my life. Just traveling and training. I have a trip planned in Europe. I plan on checking out some gyms in Europe. But now since pandemic has opened up, gyms are training all over the place. I mean, I'm coming to Thailand, Holland, New Zealand. Man, I love training, meeting, and getting punched in the face by so many people.
Drew Dober World Tour 22. Love it. Okay, what's your number one fitness tip for anybody?
Have fun. Have fun with it. If it feels like a job, you're not going to do it. And so whatever it is, I mean, could be soccer, lifting, running, jumping. Just if you have fun with it, you're going to do it more often.
You mentioned that you'd love to fight Conor. I think it's a bit of a shame they didn't do the Diaz trilogy when they had the chance. It looks like it won't happen now. It was kind of like a gimme, like it was just there. So
Right.
Who should Conor fight when he comes back, do you think?
I think they should have a Conor and RDA. I think, RDA is coming off of a loss. Conor is also coming off of a couple of losses. They were scheduled to fight each other. I think they're in like a similar position, and I think that's the one to happen.
Very astute matchmaking. I like it. Drew, you're the man. It's great to speak to you for the first time. Thanks for doing this. I appreciate it.
Dude, thank you so much. I appreciate it.